Jack Miller is one of the most likeable guys on the MotoGP grid. I think all the fans know his funny interactions between him and other riders, as well as his post-race interviews that come off as incredibly Australian. However, today, I wanted to discuss if I think Jack Miller can ever win a MotoGP world title. So my name is Zeb, and welcome to the Gravel Trap. Starting at the beginning, Jack Miller was born on the 18th of January 1995 in Townsville, Queensland, Australia. He's a dual citizen for both Australia and New Zealand and has been racing motorbikes since he was 8 years old. He mainly raced on dirt and was the Australian dirt bike champion in the 65cc category in 2003. He continued to win championships through 2005, 2006 and 2007, as well as numerous local state titles in dirt biking, racing and motocross events. Moving to Europe, in 2011, Miller competed in the German IDM 125cc category at the age of 16, winning the championship. And in 2012, Miller joined the Caretta Technology Moto3 team, with the only standout result being 4th place finish in the Sachsenring. The year was mainly used as an opportunity to learn for the MotoGP tracks, however, so that he'd be more prepared for his future Moto3 endeavours. He finished that season in 23rd place. 2013 was Jack's first season on the international stage, and it was a big step up. In Moto3 he finished that season in 7th place, with a best result of 5th coming in Misano and another 5th coming at Phillip Island. And it wasn't an easy grid, with the likes of Maverick Vinales, Alex Rins, Alex Marquez, Jonas Folger, Miguel Oliveira, Brad Binder and future team Pecco Bagnaia all competing. And they were all future MotoGP riders and talents in themselves. However, 7th was still a good result for his first proper year in Moto3. In the 2014 Moto3 Championship, Miller really hit his stride. He finished 2nd, 12 points behind future Moto2 champion and disappointing sequel Alex Marquez. He also finished ahead of the likes of Rins, Bastianini, Oliveira, Binder and Bagnaia, as well as Romano Fenati, before he started pulling his competition's brake levers. Against this stacked grid, Miller actually got the most wins of the season, with a 6 total, beating Alex Marquez's result of 3. Miller achieved one of these wins in front of his home crowd in Phillip Island, in front of Alex Marquez by just 29,000th of a second, which must have been a pretty special moment for the young Aussie. Although he didn't win that Moto3 championship, Miller's efforts were certainly rewarded, with an offer to skip Moto2 and jump in with the big boys in MotoGP. Taking the opportunity, Miller became the first rider to jump from Moto3 straight into MotoGP, signing with LCR Honda alongside Cal Crutchlow. It was a quiet and quite bad season for the rookie Miller. He ended in 19th in the standings, whilst his teammate finished in 8th place. He achieved a total of 17 points and a total 7 retirements, with a best finishing place of 12th, coming in Argentina as well as Misano. Perhaps because of his poor results in 2015, Miller ended up moving to the Mark VDS racing team to fill the place of the outgoing Scott Redding. His season started in a similar way to the previous, with 3 DNFs in the first 7 races and a best result of 10th in Catalunya. Jack was on far from the best bike on the grid, as the Mark VDS bikes were not very competitive. However, with the form he had shown, you had to ask, was skipping straight through to MotoGP a too bigger ask for the young Australian rookie? But in the 8th round at Assen in 2016, that attitude for many people would have to change.
Jack Miller lines up the chicane for the last time. It's right, and now it's left, and it's right again. Jack Miller has done it. Jack Miller has won here in Assen.
He had done it. After 3 years of MotoGP, Jack had finally gotten his first podium and race win. This incredible result led him to celebrating with a shoey on the podium, inspiring his fellow Australian Daniel Ricciardo to do the same for his next podium celebration. Jack also did well in the next round, getting 7th in the German Grand Prix. However, the rest of the season went downhill, as in Austria he crashed and had a severe injury, leading to him finishing 18th in the championship, even after his miraculous race win. 2017 would be Jack's final year with Honda, and he seemed to get more consistent, never getting on the podium but always close-ish or in the top 10, and finishing quite a few more races. This would lead to him improving his championship position by the end of the year from the previous year's 18th to 11th. For 2018, Jack would move to Pramac Ducati. His year would also be very consistent, but he never reached the podium, perhaps because he was still getting used to the new team. Jack would finish the 2018 season in 13th place, lower than he had in the previous year. 2019 saw drastic improvement from Miller. He'd get 5 podiums throughout the season, increasing his worth as a rider to the Ducati outfit, and showing his true ability, even though all those podiums were thirds. He'd also end up 8th in the championship, an impressive result. 2020 was of course heavily affected by the coronavirus. However, it would see Jack improve his championship position, but by only 1 place. However, he would be the second top Ducati rider by the end of the year. In the shortened season, he would manage 4 podiums, 1 P3 and 3 P2s, coming in Austria, in the Styrian GP and the Austrian GP, as well as Valencia and Portugal. With Andrea Dovizioso throwing a hissy fit about money in his contract negotiations, Jack was offered the factory Ducati ride for 2021, alongside his current teammate Pecco Bagnaia. This looked good for Miller because of course he would be the lead rider in a factory team, meaning he could be gunning for the championship in 2021. Although he was in the position to challenge for the title for a while, getting 2 race wins at the start of the season, it wouldn't be for Miller. In fact, he'd be beaten by his teammate Pecco Bagnaia, getting 4th in the championship by the end of the year, with the winner being Fabio Quartararo. The 2 race wins, as well as 3 other podiums during the year, did look good for Miller. It showed some improvement, and obviously the championship position improved as well. However, he didn't look very good by comparison to his teammate, who ended up with 4 race wins, as well as 5 podiums beside those race wins. So finally, the question for this video: can Jack Miller ever win a world title in MotoGP? In my view, it's probably a no. Jack is certainly in the right team to challenge for a title, particularly for 2022. Everything that we've seen so far suggests that Ducati will have the best bike on the grid, and is set to be winning the World Championship with at least one of their riders next year. But I think for next year, it won't be Jack, and I don't think he'll get it beyond that either, particularly with the Ducati team. This is because Ducati, they will want Pecco Bagnaia to win titles with them because he's an Italian on an Italian bike, and there'll be something special about that. And whilst Jack is undoubtedly a talented rider, and I think he could put a championship challenge together, with his lesser consistency across a season, particularly compared to Pecco. After all, in 2021, Pecco got 2 retirements compared to Jack's 4. I think that we'll see Jack perhaps challenge, definitely get more race wins next year, and beyond of course, but I don't see him ever getting a title at the top level of MotoGP. What is also working against Miller in this whole situation is that there are so many talented rookies, not just in the Ducati camp, but also outside of it, coming up through the ranks, be it in Moto 2 or in Moto 3 even, that will be looking for seats on the MotoGP grid. And so it's likely that Ducati will start looking at even a Jorge Martin and thinking, this person will likely put it on the podium or win more races than someone like Jack Miller. And so I see Miller's position in the Ducati team, now that he has been beaten in 2021, being in a slightly weaker position, and that's not good for his championship chances now or in the future. What Miller needs to do for 2022 is do everything he can to beat his teammate. And by that, I mean Miller needs to absolutely destroy Pecco Bagnaia. He needs to wipe the floor with him to show that he is the lead rider in that team, because otherwise Jack won't be winning with Ducati, and he's going to have to start looking other places like Honda or perhaps Yamaha, depending on how their development goes, if he wants to have a chance of winning a world championship. But I still just don't think that that will happen. There are too many talented riders on the grid who are younger and more consistent than he is. And so sadly, personally, I can't see it happening for Jack. This is of course all my opinion, and in some ways I really hope that I'm wrong. Jack is certainly deserving of a world title, and one of those people you just kind of root for because he's such a likable character. But it just doesn't seem to look like it will happen. But I'd certainly be interested in some other people's opinions on this. So, yeah, what do you think? Do you think that Jack Miller can ever achieve a world title? And if so, will it be with Ducati? Thank you for joining me in this video, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.